This video can be applied to all Cricut smart cutting machines, whether you have a Cricut Joy, Cricut Joy Xtra, Cricut Explore 3 or Cricut Maker 3. The process from design to cut for each machine is very similar, so please follow along. Hello, welcome to your Cricut workshop. My name is Kate and I am very excited to be embarking on your Cricut journey with you. I know that it might feel a little bit overwhelming at the moment. There's a lot to learn because there's so much that you can do with the Cricut machine, but don't worry, we'll just take it one step at a time, and I promise you before you know it, you'll be making all sorts of projects and you will absolutely love your Cricut machine. When you take your new Cricut machine out of its box, as well as the power cables and a selection of Cricut materials, you'll also find an envelope like this one here. And in that pack, you will see directions for you to follow to set up your machine. So remove your machine from the box and then also remove the power cable and plug that into your power supply. You then want to check in the envelope that comes with your machine, and in there it will have directions to cricut.com/setup. Just follow the prompts on screen to set up your Cricut machine. Now you've set up your Cricut machine and installed Design Space, and hopefully you've made your first test cut. So it's time to make your first project together. I'm going to start off with a vinyl project. I'll cut out a vinyl name sticker to go onto this water bottle here. So what you will need is your Cricut machine all plugged in and set up and switched on. Make sure that you've got plenty of space behind your machine on the tabletop so that the vinyl can go through your machine and it won't hit anything at the back. You'll also need some smart vinyl for your Cricut machine, a scraper tool, a weeding tool and a pair of scissors. You'll also need some Cricut transfer tape. At this point, I would like to direct you to beginner projects on the homepage in Design Space. This is an absolutely wonderful resource for you to use in order to explore all of the different materials available to you, and it will give you lots of inspiration and ideas of different projects that you can make, walking you through the projects at a really nice and manageable pace. So we've explored the home page on Design Space a little bit. Now I'm going to take you to the other page, which is the canvas. The home page is where you can find all sorts of ideas and inspiration to help you along with your Cricut machine. And the canvas is where you actually make those ideas and those projects come to life. So you can either click on Canvas, or if you prefer, you can click on the green button that's got the plus sign and or the words New Project on them. I'm going to be using a Maker 3 for this project, but you need to be sure that you've selected the right machine for whichever one you're using. So you'll click here on the drop down and find the machine that you're working from. Here is the nice blank canvas, and that's where we're going to create our first project together. So if I click on text, you'll see a text box appears on the canvas. It's worth noting that this is what Design Space looks like on a computer. If you're working from a smartphone or a tablet, you'll see each of these menu options along the bottom of your screen rather than down the left-hand side. So now we've clicked on text, what we can do is just overtype on our keyboard whichever letters we'd like to appear on our canvas. I'm going to type in the name Olive, and then you'll see if I click off the name, it deselects the name, and if I click onto the name again, it's then selected. In order to make any changes to that piece of text on your canvas, you must make sure that the text is selected. So if you do the same as me, click on text, type in whichever name or word you'd like to appear on the canvas, and then make sure that that word or name is selected, and then make your way to the edit option on Design Space. On a computer, you will want to go up here and find the font option. If you're on a smartphone or tablet, you'll want to go to the bottom of your screen and look for where it says font. Let's click the drop down and then scroll through. There are lots and lots of different fonts available to you here on Design Space, and select the one that you'd like. Now at this point, I'm just going to talk to you a bit about Cricut Access. So you'll see a little green A against many or most of the fonts which are available to you. You'll see this little green A sign appearing all over the place on Design Space. So it will be against lots of the fonts, lots of the images, and also lots of the projects. Where you see the green A symbol, it means that that item, font, project, or image, is part of the Cricut Access subscription. So if you subscribe to Cricut Access, you will get all of those items included in your monthly subscription. There are also lots of other really incredible benefits and savings to be had if you do choose to subscribe. I certainly wouldn't be without my Cricut Access subscription. I find it absolutely invaluable. But everybody gets 30 days free. So what I'd recommend you do is sign up to your free 30 days of access, explore, use as many of the projects, fonts and images as you can, and then you can make your decision. There are so many different fonts available to you on Design Space, but once you find one that you like the look of, just click on it, and then you can click off that font box and you will see that your text has changed to the font that you selected. Again, if you want to manipulate that font in any way, you need to make sure that it's selected, and then, for example, you can change the size by clicking on the corner and dragging that arrow to whatever size you would like your text to be. Alternatively, with the font selected, you can go up to the size here on the top edit menu on your screen, or you'll find it along the bottom if you're on a smartphone or a tablet, and you can actually type in the size that you would like your text to be. I'm going to move the text into the middle of my screen just so that you can see it a little bit more clearly. And I'm also going to change the colour of my text because I'd like to show you another command that you can use to really make your projects look professional. So in order to change the colour, I'm going to click on that word and then go back up to the edit menu at the top of the screen. Again, that'll be at the bottom of your screen if you're on a smartphone or a tablet, and you'll see a little block of colour next to the operation command. If I click on that block of colour, I'm just going to choose a light colour for a moment so that you can see a bit more clearly what I'm going to show you how to do. Of course, the colour that you select isn't going to affect your final project, because whatever colour vinyl you choose to feed through your machine is the colour that is going to be cut out. But I would always recommend that you choose the colour of your finished project on screen, because it just means you can see exactly what it's going to look like, and you don't need to think about it when you come to feed the vinyl or whatever material it is through your Cricut machine. I'm also going to add a little heart shape onto our design as well, so that you can see how to incorporate an image with your text. So let's click over here onto Images on the left-hand side of our screen, or the bottom of your screen if you are on a smartphone or tablet. Type whatever it is that you would like into this universal search bar here along the top. Press enter and you'll see lots and lots of images become available to you. Once you've found an image that you like, you can simply click on this green plus button and it will add the image onto your canvas. To get back to your canvas, you can just click on Images again, and then you will see that that image has been added onto the canvas. Now at the moment it's far too big, so we can change the size, if you remember, by hovering over one of those corners and dragging and dropping until the image is the correct size, or with that image selected, you can go up to the size option in the edit menu and just type in the new size for your image. Okay, perfect. Let's move it down, and I would like this heart image so that it's just touching the last letter of the text here. Now, I would like all of these items to be cut out of one piece of vinyl. At the moment, that's not going to happen. We've got cut lines in between the letters here, and also the heart is a different colour. So let me take you through a few of the different commands that you can use to get to a point where they're all going to be cut from one continuous piece of vinyl. If I drag my cursor over the heart and the name, the first command I'd like to draw your attention to is group, which is here at the top of the layers panel on the right hand side if you're on a computer, or you will find group along the bottom of your screen if you're on a smartphone or a tablet. If I click group, it will group those items together so that when I move them around or I alter the size at all, it will affect those changes to all of the items that I have grouped together. But what it's not going to do is make those items join together to be cut out of one continuous piece of vinyl. So group is a command that you use purely as a design tool when you want to group things together on your canvas. What we need to go down to is the command called combine. So if I click on combine with these items selected, you'll see combine is at the bottom of your layers panel on the right hand side if you're on a computer, or if you're on a smartphone or a tablet, you'll see combine is in the actions menu along the bottom of your screen. Click on combine and then you will need to select unite. So if I click on unite, you will see that all of those items are now one piece of vinyl. So the cut lines have been removed and they're all the same colour. So now when we come to cut this piece of vinyl, it will cut on one nice continuous piece on our Cricut machine. Let's just do a final check that we're happy with the sizing of our piece. So I've checked the size of the water bottle, and actually I would like it to be a maximum of 4 centimetres high. So I'm going to go to the edit menu, in size, click on 4 in the height, and then we're good to go. The final thing I'm going to do is just change the colour. So I'm actually going to cut this out of a piece of black vinyl. So with my item selected, I will go to Operation, select Black, and then I can click on Make It. You'll want to save your project at this point. So click on Save, type a name into the title, and then you can click on Save on your device. This next screen asks you whether you'd like to cut without mat if you're using a smart material or on mat. Let me show you what that means. So here is our smart vinyl that I've taken out of the pack, and smart vinyl is smart in that it is cut to exactly the correct width to feed straight into your Cricut machine, and it also has a nice rigid backer, so it's going to feed through your machine nice and smoothly, and it's not going to get wrinkled at all. Whenever you feed smart vinyl through your machine, you always need to make sure that you're feeding through with a nice straight cut along the top end of your smart vinyl. If you have a small offcut of smart vinyl or a piece of vinyl or a different material which isn't smart, what you'll need to do in that case is use a Cricut mat. Here is a Cricut mat. They come in different sizes depending on which machine you're using. They have a protective film over the top, and then it is sticky underneath. You'll need to take your offcut of your vinyl or whatever it is that you're using, remove the film, and then stick the vinyl onto the top left-hand corner of your mat before feeding that into your Cricut machine. And in that case, the mat is the correct width for your machine, and it's nice and rigid, so that will glide through your machine nice and smoothly. So as we're using a smart material, I'm going to select without mat, then confirm, and then you'll see we come up to this prepare page. If you were cutting on a mat, it would look something like this. I'll just toggle back to without mat for us today. Okay, that all looks perfect. So then I'm going to click on continue. And the next thing that happens is your device will hook up with your Cricut machine. So you need to make sure that your Cricut machine is switched on and it's in range of your device. Select the drop down and then find your Cricut machine. I'm sure you won't have as many as I've got. I'm going to be using this one here. And then once your Cricut machine has found your device via Bluetooth, you'll be able to select the material that you'd like to cut with. It's very important that you select exactly the right material to cut because your Cricut machine is calibrated to apply exactly the right amount of pressure for that material. So let's click on Browse All Materials, and because I selected No Mat and Smart Materials, only the Smart Materials have come up here. If you're using a mat, you'll see a much longer list of material options. I'm going to be using Smart Vinyl Permanent, so I'll click on that material and then click on Done. Here's a little reminder just to remind you what you need to have loaded in your Cricut machine in terms of blades. And then you will see the flashing load and unload button for a Maker 3 and Explore 3, which you can press on your machine. Or if you're using a Cricut Joy Xtra or a Cricut Joy, then the load button will be a green button on your screen here. But in this case, we'll take our smart vinyl, feed it into your machine, make sure it's nice and square onto your machine. You'll need to feed it underneath the two white guides, one at either side of your Cricut machine. Push it so that it's underneath the white guides and butt it up against the machine. And then you can either press the flashing load button on your machine, or if you have got a Joy Xtra or a Cricut Joy, you will feel the material being automatically sucked into your Cricut machine. The first thing that your machine will do is just double check that you've got the right quantity of material, and then it's going to cut it out for you. So you can just press the flashing Go button if you've got a Cricut Explore 3 or Cricut Maker 3, or if you have a Cricut Joy or Cricut Joy Xtra, you can press Go on your device. When your Cricut machine has finished cutting, you can press the Unload button. I can see that the Cricut machine has cut out my design from the top of this piece of smart vinyl. Because it's smart vinyl, I need to cut all the way across. So we've got a nice straight line ready for my next project. And don't worry, you can save this piece of vinyl ready for a different project. Just apply it onto your mat when you come to make that project. So here's our design cut on the piece of vinyl. The next tool you're going to need is the weeding tool. And with that tool, what you're going to do is remove all of the pieces of vinyl that you don't need. So hook it underneath the vinyl layer on a piece of the design which you don't need, and just gently pull it back from the carrier sheet, and you'll see, as if by magic, that your design is left on that carrier sheet. And then you can use your weeding tool to just hook out any other bits of your design within the letters or shapes. So here's our weeded design ready to apply onto the blank, which in this case is the water bottle. The next thing you're going to need is a piece of transfer tape. This is standard grip transfer tape, which is the one that you will require unless you're using a textured vinyl, in which case you'll need the strong grip transfer tape. But usually the standard grip transfer tape is the one that you need. I've cut a piece of transfer tape to just slightly larger than my design. What I'm going to do is peel the backing from my piece of transfer tape and then stick it down onto my design like so. you want to use your scraper tool at this point, turn your design over and apply quite firm pressure onto the reverse of your design. And the aim here is to make sure that your vinyl design is stuck to the transfer tape and not this carrier sheet on the back. When you're happy that you've applied quite a lot of pressure, taking care to add extra pressure to the edges, you can use your scraper tool to help you peel back the carrier sheet to leave your design on the transfer tape. If you just peel it back like this, you'll probably notice that the design is still going to be stuck to the carrier sheet. So the tip that I like to share when I'm doing this step is with one hand, peel back the carrier sheet, and with your other hand, use the scraper tool to press down on the carrier sheet so that you're pressing down and pulling back as you go. And that way you should find that your design stays stuck to the transfer tape like so. The final step is to then apply your design onto your blank. So take your blank, lay it down in front of you, place your design onto your blank. Again, you can use your scraper tool just to make sure that it's adhered nicely onto your blank. And then you need to pull back on the transfer tape to leave your vinyl design on the blank. And this time, fold the transfer tape completely back on itself and peel it back that way. And then you should ensure that your vinyl design stays on your blank. You can reuse pieces of transfer tape many times. So I would recommend that you pop the backing straight back onto that piece of transfer tape and you can reuse it, so keep it nice and safe. And then there we go. There's your finished vinyl design on your blank. Good to go. So well done. That's your very first vinyl project designed and made. You can use those same techniques to make all sorts of different things. And once again, let me just draw your attention to beginner projects on the homepage on Design Space, where you'll find lots and lots more ideas and inspiration for projects that you can make. This should be the right level for your Cricut journey. Just make sure that you've selected the correct machine on Design Space so that the projects are suitable for the machine that you're using. I would also like to show you how to make an iron-on vinyl project using a Cricut EasyPress. I've got a couple of EasyPresses here. I'll show you those in a bit more detail later on. But just to give you an overview, Cricut iron-on vinyl is very similar to vinyl, what we just used a moment ago to make a sticker. But instead of just sticking it on using transfer tape, you weed off the parts you don't need and then you heat set it onto your blank. So for example, my t-shirt, this rainbow on my t-shirt was made using different colours of iron-on vinyl, as was this pencil case here with a name on it in the glitter iron-on vinyl. So let's just finish cutting a project on my Cricut Joy Xtra here using smart iron-on vinyl, and then I'll show you how to apply it onto a blank using a Cricut EasyPress. I have the same design that we used before, but this time we're going to be using iron-on vinyl, and I'm going to be cutting using a Joy Xtra this time, a Cricut Joy Xtra. So just make sure again that you've got the correct machine for you, whichever one you're using, and then we're ready to go. So let's click on Make, and I'm going to be using Smart Iron-On. If you're using an offcut of Smart Iron-On, or you're perhaps using a different material or a regular iron-on which is not smart, then you'll want to click on matte. But with smart iron-on, you can click without matte. Click continue. I'll just select my Joy Xtra from the drop down here and it will connect via Bluetooth. And then once it's connected, we can select whichever material we're using. So I'm going to be using Smart Iron-On. If you can't see your material there, just click Browse All Materials and you should be able to see it in the drop-down. Here we go, it just reminds you which blades to pop into your machine and then shows you to load your material directly into the machine. So with a Joy or Cricut Joy Xtra, you can just load your material directly in. With a Cricut Explore 3 or a Cricut Maker 3, you will need to click the load button. So now I've fed the Smart Iron-On vinyl into my Cricut Joy Xtra. All I need to do is click Go on my computer and it's going to start cutting out the design for us. So again, I'll take my weeding tool, hook it underneath a portion of the Smart Iron-On vinyl that I don't need, and then just drag it back to reveal our design left on the carrier sheet. Just use my weeding tool to remove all those final pieces. And there we go. The design is now ready to be heat pressed using the Cricut EasyPress onto our blank. If you'd like more ideas and inspiration of some different iron-on vinyl projects to make with your Cricut machine, I'd like to direct you to the beginner projects section on Design Space on that homepage, and then navigate your way to Iron-On and you'll find lots and lots of different projects on there for you to choose from and make. Now let me take you through a Cricut EasyPress and tell you why they are absolutely brilliant for applying iron-on vinyl onto your blanks. The EasyPress Mini is this one here. This is the smallest in the range. This EasyPress, as you can see, it's not turned on at the moment, so don't worry. It's quite small. It has a nice small flat plate that gets to a nice even temperature. The on-off switch is here. There's just one button and it's got 3 different heat settings. This EasyPress is great if you've got small projects that you'd like to apply smart iron-on vinyl or regular iron-on vinyl onto. If you're making larger projects with iron-on vinyl, you'll need a larger EasyPress. So this one here is the 9x9 version. It's really great for making things like t-shirts or bags and accessories. And then it comes in larger versions as well. So you just choose the one that suits the type of projects that you're making the most. If I turn this one over, you'll see again, it's got a lovely, large, completely flat plate. It's got no holes in it, so there are no hot spots, no cool spots. And with these larger EasyPresses, you can be very, very precise in terms of the temperature that you heat them up to. And the great thing about this EasyPress 3 is that it works with the Cricut Heat app. So it works via Bluetooth. So actually, you can control the Cricut Heat Press from your device as well. You can also control it manually. So on the top here, there is the on-off switch and then a heat button and a time button, and you can increase or decrease the heat or time with the plus and the minus buttons over here. So if you wanted to use the EasyPress manually, or indeed you're using the EasyPress Mini, what you would do is you would go to the Cricut Heat Guide, and there's a link for that on Design Space. So we're back on the home page again. Let me divert your attention to here on the left-hand side where it says Heat Guide. So if you click on that, and it will take you to the Cricut Heat Guide. You can also get there by typing into your browser cricut.com/heat guide. So this is where you can find out exactly the time and the temperature to set your Cricut EasyPress at to press your iron-on vinyl onto the blank. First of all, select whichever Cricut EasyPress or heat press you're using. So say it was a Cricut EasyPress 2, you would click on that, and then you simply click the drop down for whatever heat transfer material you're using. So I was using Smart Iron-On. So you would click that here. It's important to choose exactly the right one. So if you're using glitter smart iron-on, for example, you would definitely want to select that one. And then you select your base materials. So all of the Cricut bases, the Cricut blanks are listed down here. I'm going to be using a Cricut cosmetic bag, but otherwise up here you have all sorts of other different fabrics for you to choose from. So just check the makeup of whatever it is that you're pressing onto and make sure that you select the right one for you. But I'm going to choose Cricut cosmetic bag for now. I would always recommend that you use a Cricut pressing mat. So if you can, click that and then click on apply, and you will see the time for the preheat, the temperature, and the time to program into your Cricut EasyPress. You can toggle between Fahrenheit and Celsius here. And then it tells you whether you need to apply firm pressure or light pressure. And then it tells you when you need to remove the liner from your design. So in this case, it would be preheat for 5 seconds, preset the heat on your Cricut EasyPress to 155 degrees C, and preset the time to 30 seconds. Apply with firm pressure and then slowly remove the liner when it's cool to the touch. And then down here is a little bit more information that you might find useful, all about the preparation, application, and also actually the aftercare as well, which is really, really handy. If you'd like to use the Cricut Heat app on your device, mobile device or tablet, to control your Cricut EasyPress 3, then the first thing that you need to do is download the Cricut Heat app onto your device. So let's find the Cricut Heat app on my phone here. I'm going to open it up. You'll need to sign in first of all, so you can use the same ID that you used for Design Space when you downloaded that onto your device. And then the first thing that you'll need to do is set up a new heat press. So you click on Set up a new heat press and make sure that your EasyPress is turned on. And then you should see your EasyPress appear on the screen. You can click Connect, and then it will connect via Bluetooth to your EasyPress. That's great. You can just agree and then activate your EasyPress and you're ready to go. It really is as easy as that. I'm going to skip the practice project today, but you can work your way through the practice project just so that you can get the hang of how the EasyPress works before you go into your own project. When you're ready to make your project, all you need to do is find your EasyPress on the Heat app. So it's this one here that we're using today. I'm going to click that and then I'm going to click on Start New Project. So I'll select that here. The Heat app works very similarly to how the Cricut Heat Guide works that I just showed you for the manual settings, but it just does all of the settings for you and transfers them directly to your EasyPress. So again, let's select the transfer material, and I am using Smart Iron-On. And then the base material that we're applying to is a Cricut cosmetic bag. But there are all sorts of different fabrics in here, so you can just scroll along and find the one that best suits your project. Now, I'd heartily recommend that you use a Cricut pressing mat if you can. It just means that the iron-on vinyl is going to adhere much better and much more evenly onto your blank. But perhaps even more importantly, you need to be working on a perfectly flat surface. So make sure that your pressing mat is placed down on a really, really flat tabletop, or even on the floor if you feel like the tabletop is a little bit bumpy. You'll get much, much better results than if you have something that's a bit wobbly underneath your pressing mat. Then we can click on Next, and it's going to send those settings, so the exact preheat time, temperature and press time, to our EasyPress. And then it even has a lovely little animated diagram just to show us exactly what to do next and make sure that everything's really, really clear. So the EasyPress is now heating up to the right temperature, and it will have a little beep when it's ready for me to go. Meanwhile, I'm going to take my blank and pop it onto the Cricut pressing mat. I'm going to make sure that the zip is just off the edge of the mat, because again, that will mean that there's kind of extra lumps and bumps underneath the EasyPress, and we want a perfectly flat surface. The zip is also plastic and we don't want it to melt under the heat of the EasyPress, so that's another really good reason to make sure that it's off the edge of the pressing mat. Make sure there's no dust or dirt or anything on your blank, so if you've got a lint roller, I would advise rolling that over your blank first of all. And then it's the preheat. So we've got a 5-second preheat with this blank. So I'm going to pop my EasyPress on, press the green button, and it will just count down for 5 seconds to preheat our blank. There we go. Next, we can take our pre-cut design, pop that down onto the blank in position. You might want to use some heat-resistant tape if you find that it's moving around a little bit. And then take the EasyPress again, place it down onto your design, and again press the green button. And now it's asking me to apply firm pressure, and it says that nice and clearly on the screen, as you can see. So I'm applying firm pressure with both of my hands nice and evenly onto the Cricut EasyPress as it heat presses my iron-on vinyl design onto the fabric blank. And then it clearly says on my screen on the app that I need to wait for the design to cool down, and then when it's cool I can gently peel off the backing carrier sheet to reveal my finished design. Right, my project has now cooled down, so I can just carefully peel back the carrier sheet to reveal the pressed iron-on vinyl design onto the cosmetic bag. Isn't that lovely? And that's fully washable in the washing machine. You just need to follow the instructions that you will find on the Cricut Heat app or on the Heat guide. So there we have it. Well done. Hopefully you've been able to follow along, and hopefully you have made your first vinyl project on your Cricut machine, and maybe even an iron-on vinyl project as well, using your Cricut cutting machine and an EasyPress too. I'd like to again just remind you that there's so much in terms of help, inspiration and ideas on the Design Space homepage. You might also want to go to the how-tos section, because on there are lots and lots of videos showing you all sorts of techniques and tips if you get stuck, just to help you along your way and answer your questions. I'm sure you're going to absolutely love playing with your Cricut machine. Honestly, I would not be without mine now. I use it for so many different occasions in my life, whether it's making gifts for my friends and family, making costumes for my children, making cards for people, or organising my home, or just making things for myself. There's so much that you can do with them. And I would also urge you to become part of the Cricut community. It really is a wonderful place. They are a lovely bunch of people, and everybody is very, very supportive in terms of helping with troubleshooting, questions and ideas and inspiration. So you can find us on social media via the links on the screen. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck and enjoy yourselves. Take care. Bye-bye. Your crown's made out of paper and you've never looked greater. Got an empty canvas, so where to begin?